Okay, so we have an adjustment to the agenda. Greg Isom, who is going to come for bond measure survey results, which is 10.1A, may be a little late. And so when we get to that point, if he is not here, we're going to skip ahead to 10.2, A, B, and C, or as far as we get down the agenda till he gets here. So that means Aaron might be on sooner. But he's in 2 different school districts doing bond presentations. So.
Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items? Nope. All right. Can we get an approval of consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
And just like that, we're to Greg's spot. So Aaron can jump in into 10.2A.
All right. Good evening. I know. Hopefully it'll clear up. So what you have before you is a scope of work from the Bay Area Writing Project. We're shifting gears here a little bit to not change focus, but change providers and reinvigorate our work towards ethnic studies. We have provided quite a bit of opportunity for training on the topic of ethnic studies for our teachers, and we have done some training for our administrators in ethnic studies, but we also want to move from what I call the coalition of the willing to all in, right? And you all have made that very clear as a board that you want that as well. So the Bay Area Writing Project scope of work focuses on providing specific training to our principals. Principals have been provided some amount of training through Acosta Educational Partnership, but in order to have it be more actionable for our administrators and where they are leading change in the classroom, we thought it made sense to move away a little bit from the philosophy. AEP is great on helping us with the theory and philosophical aspects of ethnic studies, but the principals have told us that they could use some help in terms of how do we look at student work to make sure that we're embedding the tenets of ethnic studies? How do we lead ethnic studies? And so that's really what this contract is about, is focused on administration and providing them the tools, knowledge, and resources to lead this as principals on their site. So they will begin with us in our district leadership kickoff in August. We also have new staff, right? Some of our folks have not really had a whole lot of ethnic studies training. We have 2 principals, one at TK2, one at 6 through 8, who really haven't been a large part of the AEP training because they haven't really been here. And we'll have a new high school principal as well. So it kind of made sense to hit the reset button. Bay Area Writing Project has really made a name for itself in the region in terms of providing ethnic studies professional development with a focus on making change that will help change practice in the classroom, to be honest. So the proposal here is a proposal. We're working on contracting. Bay Area Writing Project is a division of UC Berkeley. Contracting with UC Berkeley is a whole bureaucracy in and of itself. So what we're asking you to approve here is the proposal. So once they have the actual contract prepared, we can move forward on that. So the administrators will get quite a bit of training, and then in November, we're going to hybridize it here a little bit, and the Bay Area Writing Project will work with our coalition of willing, the 15 or so teachers that have received in-depth training on ethnic studies and their principals to help guide a 3-hour training on each of the school campuses. So we're moving from some to all. So this will be a training in November that all of our faculty will participate in. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I have a quick question on page 2, September, October. It says 3-hour workshop to be determined, I guess, the date.
The date, yeah. So that'll happen during, we have bi-monthly district leadership team meetings. So every other week, the district leadership team meets. And so Laurel's working on setting those. So it'll be either in September or October.
And one of those meetings is an hour meeting, and one of those meetings is typically 2.5, 3 hours.
And those are both remote.
So the September/October, it's either one of those months.
Right.
Not
I get
both.
that. Okay.
Yeah, but that will be remote. Yeah,
And-
and it saves us money. That to be the reason it's remote is that we don't have to pay for a provider to.
And again,
spend the
who
night.
is attending that?
The district leadership team?
Leadership.
The entire
The
district
admin.
leadership team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So I'm looking for a.
I will comment that I'm very pleased that they're breaking it up into going to the schools as well.
Just a question, Aaron. So the idea is that the school principals are going to be attending these trainings or these workshops, and then they're going to have smaller group.
They're going to practice leading this in their faculty meetings, in their
Okay.
common planning team meeting. The first practice will be in the November PD. So November 1st is a district-wide PD. So they're going to get a lot of support for those 3 hours with the teachers that have already been trained through AEP and Bay Area Writing Project to pull off those 3 hours with the idea of like a release that by the end of the year, hopefully the principals and the teachers that are steeped in this will be, it'll be more of a site-based teachers teaching teachers, principals leading the work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, this is an action item, so do I have,
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Good on the margins. He's not here.
On the margins. Yeah. I'll just keep going until he gets here.
Yeah.
So on the margins, took over the youth equity design team in January, February. They did a phenomenal job. Very pleased with the work they did with our students. You'll see in there's a proposal, and then beyond the proposal is a slide deck that they co-created with our students. The slide deck is bilingual, which I'm thrilled to see. All of their materials are bilingual always. That's how they roll. So this is a co-creation, what you see, the slide deck. Unfortunately, the students didn't get a chance to present this to the faculty and the staff of HHS. We just ran out of time. There wasn't a time for when the kids were available, when the students were available, and our faculty. This has some really great information, both quantitative and qualitative data for our incoming principal and John Weller. We would like to continue working with On the Margins. They are thrilled to continue working with us. And the design of the work is every month for 3 hours. We have 12 students that are going to be returning that were part of the design team. So we're going to backfill. We've got 3 high schoolers that are moving on. They graduated. And so we're probably going to bump that team up to more like 17 to 18 students. And then you'll see in the design about November, December is when we'll start incorporating faculty and staff into the design team. So it won't be just student facing, but by November and certainly definitely by December to begin to integrate faculty and staff into the design team process. So 10 sessions once a month with just beautiful facilitation as far as I'm concerned. They do a great job of integrating art and mental health and making sure that our students' cultural and community wealth is a part of, you'll see it in the art if you look at what's there in terms of drawing the students out. So it's not just all PowerPoint, but some beautiful art there and thinking through a more, I would just say, multidimensional way of expressing themselves. So again, you've got this time a full-on proposal in front of you that we're looking for approval tonight.
Thank you, Aaron. Do I have a motion?
Or any questions?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm happy that this relationship is working out and that it's going to be built upon. I think it's great.
Thank you. Me too.
All right, moving on to 10.2C.
So this is really exciting. I've talked to you before about both the trials and tribulations of articulating with Santa Rosa Junior College. We all want it, but sometimes bureaucracy gets in the way. So we have had a culinary articulation agreement in place for many years. This is a renewal of the culinary. Very glad that we're getting this back in place with the departure of Chef Corsino. So it's a nice thing to have set up as our new culinary arts teacher, Ben Witten, comes in. But 2 new ones, the advanced auto and digital filmmaking. So these are courses we've offered for a very long time at HHS, but we just haven't been able to get the faculty, honestly, at SRJC to move with us, and we finally do. So we've worked really hard to make sure and convince SRJC that we run quality programs so our students who are taking advanced auto and digital filmmaking can earn credit by exam. So it is a credit by exam setup. We are confident that our students will pass that exam if they want to, if that's desirable for them. Not only does it give them college credit, but it then gets them their foot in the door if they want to continue in 2 really great high-wage, high-demand professions in terms of auto and digital filmmaking in our region. So this is great news for our kids and just increases their early college opportunities.
Question.
Yeah.
So for the credit by exam, would they have the opportunity to take that exam at Healdsburg High? Or
Yes, they take it with our
Okay.
instructor. So the way it works is SRJC delivers the exam. We get to see it. The instructor gets to see it ahead of time, but delivers to the instructor. Our instructor gives it in the classroom during regular school hours, and then it gets put in a sealed envelope and it gets shipped to SRJC. So SRJC instructor scores it. Any student that receives a C or better can opt to have that credit put on their SRJC transcript. If for some reason they decided they don't want a C on their they got a C or they got a B, they don't want that, they can opt not to take it. What we don't want to do here is damage a junior college or a college transcript, but give them every opportunity. So it gets scored, and then they get the opportunity to decide whether or not to go ahead and take the credit or not on a junior college transcript.
So they will get, obviously, the credit.
In the high school.
They'll get whatever credit they earn independent of the exam.
Correct.
For their kind of, regardless. But
for
then,
the high school transcript.
But
right.
then is the test at the end of the year?
Yeah, it generally happens in end of April, sometimes early May, depending on the schedule of the SRJC professor. So they tell us, go ahead and give it to them because I need to have it by this date in order to score it.
Right. And then several weeks later or whatever, they get their test results back and they know sort of what they got.
Yep.
Whether it's
and that all happens because SRJC is done before us. So all that happens before our counselors are gone. So those conversations can happen before the school year is over.
And what kind of, I don't know, what were you hearing from culinary about that test? Like, were most students having scoring
Success.
a grade that was consistent with what they were earning in the class?
Yeah.
Ish?
Yeah, yes. And in fact, really, it's similar to the AP exams in some ways that, the students know what's going to be on the test. They know what they need to do to prepare for it. So do the teachers. And if they want that credit, we'll get them successful. The teachers will make sure that they get ready and they get the credit. It really has a lot to do with student motivation, honestly. Our faculty don't have any problem meeting the SRJC standard. It's not, I don't have enough time, or I don't have the facilities, or I can't get them there. I don't hear that. I hear more it's, well, if the student wants to make this happen, then they will.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they need to concentrate on preparation in the same way that they would with the AP.
I wouldn't say it's
Not
quite
phone it
as
in.
rigorous.
Right.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
But like be working for it.
Yeah, they need to work for it, certainly. Yeah, they can't, if they pull a C in the high school class, they probably are not going to pass the exam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like an incredible opportunity to me to sort of like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I mean, to get that extra credit at the same time that you're earning it in high school is awesome.
Yeah, and we have an existing agriculture also.
Right.
There, next year is year 2 of 2, so we'll go for renewal this time next year for ag. So we have, we have that already, and we're also working on construction. So Todd Sheehy and I have wedged our toes into the construction world at SRJC. We're making some good headway, so I anticipate this time next year we'll be bringing construction forward as well.
Wow, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
Would there be a possibility to do that with Spanish as well?
Possibly. The issue is the Spanish faculty, we've looked at it for Spanish, we've looked at it for a number of math classes, statistics, courses that are considered impacted at the junior college right now, particularly in the core academic, they're not offering articulation. There's a lot of pressure on the junior colleges around the state, and particularly SRJC, just being honest, they're not great at articulation. It hasn't been an invitation to the table yet, and that's on the SRJC side, but we keep knocking on that door.
Yeah, I took Spanish credit by exam, and I don't know if it's for the courses that we're going to offer, but there's actually like a study sheet, like this is what's going to be covered in the test. So I don't know if that's going to be offered for the classes that we are having here.
Yeah, they know it's similar to AP. It's very transparent of what they need to know and be able to do.
And Erin, I don't know, this might be too technical, but would they be able to take the credit by exam for a pass, no pass instead of a letter grade?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100% positive, but I think that's a no. Okay. Yeah.
We don't do pass fail on our grades, so probably not.
Yeah.
Okay. But for the credit for exam, for example, like if they passed it with like a C is a passing grade for SRJC, so you would get the full
You get a C,
units, and it wouldn't affect your GPA per se.
I think
at the JC.
part of the reason the SRJC wants to do this is they're trying to build a pipeline to their programs, right? That they feel if our students take those beginning level courses, they start to understand what is the trajectory, what is the course pathway for either an AA or certificate or a transfer program, and pass, no pass generally doesn't help them to earn that certificate or the AA program. So my understanding is they don't like it because it doesn't, while it gets them credit, it doesn't really get them moving forward to earning that certificate or earning the AA. Yeah.
I had one more question and I lost it. I don't know if it's going to come back in the next 4 seconds.
Well, I'm going to be back later. We could talk about it in terms of LCAP because,
Send an email.
Early college credits, part of something we're trying to do in the.
Oh, wait, I remembered what it was. Okay, so this is kind of a technical question too, which is just that, so then what happens if a student transfers to a four-year university or, is moving on after high school graduation to another university? Would they then submit the transcript from SRJC as an independent transcript from their high school transcript?
Yeah, exactly. So, it's if you, let's say, we have students, this happens all the time. They go to Sonoma State for a year or so, and then they transfer. They're at SRJC for a year, and then they would transfer to SSU. It's a valid college transcript, just like it's seen as any other. The hitch is, at least for the CTE courses, many of them are not transferable to four-year universities.
Right, because they're not considered kind of the academic courses that would be offered at a UC or whatever.
Right, but I will tell you we're in conversation with Sonoma State. There's a new opportunity to articulate directly with Sonoma State for some core academic courses. Our teachers need to meet their minimum hiring requirements, which means they need to have a master's degree. And so Karen and I are working right now to pull a list of all of our faculty at the high school that have a master's degree and basically say, hey, do you want to think about teaching an articulated course? And so that's, Carolina Diaz used to had a master's degree, not that she used to, she had a master's. Our two Spanish teachers currently right now don't. But there's the difference between whether it's transferable to a four-year university or not. And generally, CTE classes are not transferable to a four-year university.
Okay.
That said, it looks really good, right? Even if you're going to go to Sonoma State for engineering and you've done auto, that's a nice little, gold star on the application process. It helps you stand out.
Definitely.
Any early college credit helps students stand out.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it seems like we also could be thinking about just what the overall spend is for a student for second, for any kind of college work. And that what you're really doing is giving them more flexibility in their academic program, years down the line in their program potentially, and saving them money because they come in with credits. So just the idea that there's this kind of academic partnership with Sonoma State potentially out there in the future, even if you're just talking about a student leaving, say, with 2 courses, that's still potentially thousands of dollars of savings.
Absolutely.
And the kind of jump that they've gotten that might give them an opportunity to either graduate early or have more flexibility in their program as they move forward. I mean, it's just really can be life-changing because college is so expensive.
Yeah, into the financial, so SRJC, they have this thing where you have to pay $27. It's is it a health fee, Demi, that we pay? Yeah, it's a health fee that you can't get around. So we pay it as a district. We also, if there's any materials they need, if there's a special book they need that our teachers don't use, or a software or something like that, we provide all of that through the district. Whereas if you're a college student, you're figuring out how to pay that on your own.
Yeah.
We cover all of that, all of the supplies, all the subscriptions, the health fee.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Any more questions?
So looking for approval, SRJC has approved these. We're looking for your approval.
And it's 2, right,
Yeah.
Erin? There's
3. So there's
Culinary
renewal of culinary arts,
Arts and filmmaking.
auto, and digital filmmaking.
Oh, that's right. But that's separate than item D.
Correct.
Culinary
Item D
arts.
is something
Okay.
different. I'll explain here in a minute.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, Greg is here.
Great. The mic is yours.
So, are you ready? Okay. So this is Greg Isom, who works with us as our bond advisor, who was here, I think you were here in March, if I remember right, maybe April.
Yeah.
And we agreed to do a survey on the potential of an elementary bond, and he's here to go over the results with us.
Yep. This button? On. Yep, the on button normally makes things work. Okay. Excited to be here again. So I am going to report on the survey results. So just a little bit of like the methodology behind it. You can see that you have 9,500 total voters. Purpose of the survey is not to contact all 9,500s to try to get to the plus or minus margin of error 5%. So, we only call voters that match the demographic that show up on a specific election day. So, like if we hit our quota of Democrats and we hit our quota of Republicans and we can't get independents, well, we're not going to just call more Democrats or more Republicans. We're trying to have it balanced out. So you'll see we got a hold of 236 individuals, margin of error plus or minus 6.3%. So pretty close. Did the survey in May, and you'll see kind of what we tested on. So when we go to page 3 of the survey, we kind of gave them a little softball question. We say, hey, would you say that education at the elementary schools in your community is heading in the right direction or the wrong direction? You can see 36 right, 13 wrong, and 51% don't know, okay? Which is pretty standard for Sonoma County, okay? At the end of the survey, we asked a question. We say, hey, for statistical reasons, can you tell us, do you have any children or grandchildren, or have you ever had any children or grandchildren attend school in Healdsburg Unified? 54% said no, never. So you can probably see why that 51% says, I don't know what education is like in Healdsburg, okay? But it's important to know that, that's who we're kind of communicating with. Half the people that took the survey pretty much have no connection to your schools whatsoever, have no idea what's going on.
And that's who votes.
And that's who votes in a low turnout election. Yes. So we kind of just hit him right in the gut at the beginning. We say, hey, well, at this time, Healdsburg Unified is looking to make classroom school improvements at the elementary schools in your district. Considering placing a bond, let me read you the proposed language. So we read them that yellow box. I'm not going to read it, but you can kind of see it's kind of almost confusing language. Healdsburg Unified School District, School Facilities Improvement District number 1 to issue $49.5 million, $3 million annually, as long as bonds are outstanding, at approximately 3 cents per $100 of assessed value be adopted, blah, 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 blah. You can see we got 59.6% of the people said yes. 3.7% of the voters said that they were undecided, but then when they were pushed, they said, well, are you leaning yes or are you leaning no? They said, well, I'm leaning yes. Okay, great. 10.6 were undecided, 1.8 were undecided leaning no, 24% said no. Okay, so remember, for bonds, you only need to get 55%. So, we're kind of above that 55%. Yeah, there's the margin of error of 6%, but that's plus or minus, right? So let's just kind of throw out some random facility questions, see if there's anything that voters don't like or there's something that they love. So we throw out some, what about roof repairs, plumbing and sewer systems, electrical systems? We actually prioritized, or I should say, in this presentation, we ranked the ones that were the most popular. You can see 80% of the people said, yeah, I'd be for a bond if I knew it was going to be for these projects. Okay, great. And then when we got to the next page, well, what about make health, safety, and security? fix HVAC, construct modernized classroom restroom school facilities, make water conservation improvements. You can see all those were 65%. But mostly what we're looking for when we ask these questions, it's not necessarily what are the most popular. We're looking for that kind of that orange and the green. Is there anything that's like super negative? And generally when I think something that's super negative is something that's 40% negative. Okay, so you're nowhere near that one because even some of these voters said, I don't know or it doesn't make a difference. And so only 25% of your voters didn't like the last one, right? So now we ask about tax rate questions. We always remind them that bonds are not free. So you say, well, what if you knew it was going to cost you $60, $50, 45? We actually went in that specific order. Well, all the facility ones were randomized. This is specific. You can see 49% said, yeah, okay. 41% said no. Well, what about $50? $50 was 51%, and 41% said no. So shockingly, the needle did not move, even by dropping it by 10. And then even by dropping it by an extra 5. Normally, when you go to $49.99, you're going to see a big jump. And it literally just moved the needle by 1%, which is kind of shocking. It just seems like your voters like, I'm kind of in the middle. And so that's why we ask the question again. We say, well, now that you've heard more information regarding the proposed bond for election held today, did you vote yes in favor, no to oppose? And you can see that you gained 0.5%, so you're at 60.1 yes. Your lean yes is 0.9, your undecided 6, undecided lean no is 1.4, and your no vote went up by almost 7%. Okay, so that tells us that for some odd reason, I shouldn't say odd, but for some reason your community is a little tax sensitive right now. The beauty of what we're proposing for your district, though, and this is why I think it's going to pass at a much higher level, is we're talking about not bringing a new tax on top of a tax. It's your taxes falling off. Was it in 2026, I believe? Yeah, I mean, your tax rate is falling off. And so we're actually not going to increase on top. It's just going to be a tax rate extension. So, well, what if you knew that the proposed measure would not increase taxes, but rather extend the tax rate properties are currently paying? 70% said, sign me up for that one. Okay? So our conclusions, recommendations, your voters, they like you. They like the projects that you're proposing. There is tax rate sensitivity, which is why we were looking at the tax rate extension. Our recommendation, there's still a couple conversations, but as I said, it's to move forward in November with the bond based off of these survey results.
Any questions for Greg?
Thanks, Greg.
You got it.
Thank you.
I had a question which I already asked
Yeah, go ahead.
in close, but I want to ask it in public as well. And it was around bond fatigue, and if you foresee any bond fatigue with other bonds that are coming on board in Sonoma County.
So the bond fatigue, it's not from statewide things. There is bond fatigue when it comes to local. Mm-hmm. If you keep going back to the well, and I've seen it. I think I gave an example, or I sometimes get confused on how many examples, but Winters Unified, they did a bond in 14, 16, 18, and 20. $60 tax rates each time. And you can see in the surveys, the support kept going down. They started 72 first bond, next bond passed at 69, next bond passed at 67, next bond passed at 64. There is such thing as voter fatigue when it comes to this stuff, which is why I believe as long as we get our message out, letting people know, hey, this is not going to raise your taxes. This is just going to extend what you're currently paying. You see the results right there.
Regardless of the other bonds that are coming on.
So there's a local Sonoma County Library bond that's going to be on the measure too.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally people will separate those things out.
Okay.
So, I've seen districts when I did West Sonoma County High School District, there was Forestville Elementary bond, there was the Forestville fire tax, there was, a bunch of measures. People generally will vote based off of each measure. You'll have your anti-tax person who will say, no, no, no. You're going to have your pro-tax persons going to say, yes, yes, yes. The people in the middle, that's who decides these measures, truly is going to take a look at each measure individually, and they're going to say, library bond, I haven't been in a library for 10 years. No. Oh, it's school district? Oh, it's not increasing my taxes? Yes. That's how I see things generally happening.
All right.
All right. So that was a report. Our next item is a resolution to actually authorize the school bonds. And Greg has worked with our bond attorney and me to create the language for this. This will be put on the ballot for November, and it is due to be turned into the registrar of voters by August 1st. So we would need to pass it today, as this is our last board meeting.
So were this to be passed, help me understand how it gets out to the public, other than on the ballot.
No, we will engage in some activities to make sure that it is understood very well.
So dinner at your house.
Yeah, so there will be, outside of the school district, there will be, you want to come up and talk about the process, Greg?
So process is, if the school district says they want to do this, then it requires 4 votes of the board. Board approves it, gets submitted, making sure we're doing the math, gets submitted to the county by August 9th, no later than August 9th. And then once that is on, it's official. Okay? You are officially doing a bond. Okay? At that point, the school district cannot spend time nor money on campaigning for a bond. You can provide information. You can provide anything that's factual. You can spend money on information, factual stuff, but you cannot use the word yes or you cannot use the word no. Okay? In this time period from when you approve it, odds are, I believe that your superintendent's going to try to establish some type of committee. We'll say a campaign committee, which is what happened in 2016. Probably don't need to do as much as you did in 2016. Since this is going to be a tax rate extension, I think most people are going to be super supportive of this. But having said that, there will be a committee where we're going to, do some fundraising so we can actually pay for some mail that's going to get sent out to the community. Is there going to be knocking on doors? No. COVID, squash that. Are we going to do phone banks? No. People don't want to talk to people on the phone anymore. You used to be able to get 400 easy for surveys, and now, we struggle to get, almost 250. So it's going to be voters today just like to receive information. And so that's all we're going to do. We're going to send them information and keep reminding them over and over again that this is not going to raise your tax rate.
And as far as language that is descriptive with regard to potential use for the bond, or where does that come from, and when does that?
So that's part of what he was talking about. So there's two things, right? As superintendent during the workday, I can give factual information. I will make the rounds at the local service clubs and in different ways give information to different outlets. And then separately outside of work, I will have a role on the committee that we decide to do for said campaign, and they will also work to get the information out. In Healdsburg, a lot happens just by word of mouth. We all know this.
Right.
So
I guess I'm just trying to remember when I voted on the bond in 2016. I know that I had vague information about use, like potential use for the bond. This was before I was on the board.
Yep.
And expectations about what that money was going to go towards and why I was feeling like voting in favor of it. And not just generally that my kids attend the schools, but just that I understood this bond is for X, Y, and Z needs. And I felt like that was a really important component of my vote. And so I guess is language and kind of a style, like a bulleted sheet created by the committee.
That's typically the kind of mailers that we send out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So generally speaking, every voter in their sample ballot is going to have that project list in the resolution, all those bullet points.
Right. Okay.
But you can't communicate that to every single person. So generally what happens in the committee or even the district, if they want to send out something informational, I think that we did it in 2016 where we sent out a district mailer, went to all registered voters' homes saying this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it, and it provided information. Then the committee was sending out information, and it was probably like, well, Measure A is going to repair and replace roofs, plumbing, electrical systems, health and safety, and construct modernized classrooms, restrooms, and school facilities. Like there's going to be some super broad language, and if there's something like super specific that we want to focus on, we can focus on that. But normally what the committee does, or just committee statewide, is you kind of focus on 4 to 5 things that you're going to be kind of spending your money on so that people have an idea of what it is.
Right. And I know from being on the board since we have been allocating the money for the 2016 bond that that we don't need to necessarily be super specific in what our agreements are, because there's a lot of changes that happen and
Correct.
common sense that goes into executing, let's say, the overall values of the bond.
Yep.
You know, what we understand the community expected to see from the bond. But I think in this bond, and I don't want to talk out of school, but just like we've talked a lot about modernizing the front of Healdsburg Elementary, and the necessity to make that ADA compliant and also consistent with the historical feeling of the building, and that's an expensive, intensive project, and something that every person who has attended that school is experienced with the crummy non-ADA entrance of that building, but also that building has been beautiful for the last 100 years. So I think, those are all things that I guess the bond committee will talk about. But
Correct.
But I do feel like we've got some. We've got
Hey,
some.
Chair, just-
You can be the chair of the campaign committee.
No, but just I think it's this general language is like, of course, everyone wants every student safe and dry, but we have ideas for what this bond can do to continue to improve our facilities.
And that's part of what we do when we put what I will do outside of work when I put together a campaign committee is find people who are going to be excited about that specific project at HES and people who will be excited about redoing the pool so that you get some momentum.
Super excited about redoing the pool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do I have a motion for item 10.1B?
I move approval for, I just missed it, resolution 24-3.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Wait, it's a reso,
Oh.
so we have roll call.
My bad.
Vice President Lopez Jimenez,
Aye.
Trustee Potmissel,
Aye.
Trustee McAllister,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez Pardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Greg, thank you for missing your Little League game. Yeah, he's the president of his Little League Association. He's watching it online. The 9-year-old baseball players. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. All right, welcome back, Aaron.
Part 2. It's a 2-act show tonight.
So we're at the
D.
yeah.
Yeah. 10.2D. Revision of the Healdsburg High School Culinary Arts course.
So this is an interesting one. Culinary has been around a long time in Healdsburg, before my time. When this course was first approved by the board, before my time, the UC did not think that courses like this were college preparatory. There was no path to get culinary courses approved. Things have changed, enlightenment, and to your point, Trustee McAllister, about CTE courses and are they transferable, and so the credit by exam course for culinary is not transferable, but our high school course is considered college prep now. So what you have before you is the revised course outline. Derek Corsino took a good look and made sure that the outline that you have here is what he has been teaching and is passing along to Chef Witten as he comes in. We have very little concern that this course will not be approved by the UC. Many courses that are of less high caliber have been approved by the UC than this course that you have before us. It was this kind of time went by. We didn't, think to have this approved as college prep until recently. And so what you have before you is the course outline. Once you approve it, we will put it into the UC course management portal and say, please approve this. And we anticipate it'll fly through with no issues. And then students who need a college preparatory G course and take culinary will have this on their transcript in order to be A to G, what do you call it?
Compliant.
A to G compliant, thank you. Yeah.
Aaron, is this retroactive?
No.
No.
It's not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And it's a fairly recent move that's happened kind of quietly. Honestly, we found out about it from Chris's wife, who's doing college counseling. Maria Carrillo got theirs approved, and so we're like, oh, we could do that.
All right.
This class sounds so amazing. I wish I could take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sold out every year. I mean, we have probably twice as many students sign up for it than we have facility to offer it. So,
Okay.
Sounds like we should work on that too then.
yeah, the pool and a culinary patio.
Any other questions? No? All right. Do I have a motion to approve 10.1D?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Woo! All right.
Thank you.
10.1E. Oh, 10.2E, sorry.
Yeah, so this is the textbook. You all met our special educator, Sarah Ronis, who was here with me last month to discuss the 2-year integrated Math 1 course designed for students with disabilities. She and I were here presenting the course. It was on the consent agenda tonight for the course to be approved. This is the textbook that our students and teachers will need. And so we use CPM for integrated math 1, 2, and 3. It is a highly collaborative, highly discovery-based curriculum. It is not what any of us did for math when we were young people. It is what is called for in the Common Core, lots of discussion amongst students. It's a great curriculum, but not for every student. For some students who need more discrete understanding, more pathway of do this, then this, then this, of which many of our students with disabilities need, we thought that this textbook was a better fit. We did our homework. We've talked to some other districts. Windsor Unified is about to adopt this for all of their integrated Math 1 courses, whether they're designed for students with disabilities or not. So I want to be clear that this is not a lesser curriculum. This is not a, watered down or easier curriculum. It's just presented in a much more concrete fashion and is less dependent upon students having rich conversations and figuring it out on their own. It's much more what you and I would see while being aligned to the Common Core. And so big ideas. It's a fairly low cost because this is small, right? We're talking about serving 12, 15 students. So it's not like we're buying 150 or 200 textbooks. We're buying 15 textbooks and 1 teacher's edition. So the total cost here is about $1,900 in order to make sure that this new course has adequate materials and meet the needs of the students and the teacher, to be honest. Right? This course is going to be taught by a special educator who does her best to make sure that she understands the complexities of mathematics, but she's not a credentialed math teacher. She'll work closely with the math department, but having a curriculum in which there's a little bit more background and just honestly step-by-step mathematics in it for the teacher as well, we think will be helpful. So looking for approval so I can feed the PO and get this bought over the summer so they have what they need when we start school in August.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. So this is a 2-year course as opposed to normally a 1-year course?
Exactly. So they'll take that book and instead of rushing through it in 1 year, they'll have 2 years. And I will say the CPM material will be supplemented. I mean, that's our core curriculum.
Right.
So it's not like we're going to completely throw that out with the baby out with the bathwater. It will be a component of it, but this will be the core text for that class. Please.
Yeah, my question was just around when was the last time that we purchased the new textbooks for this specific course?
Well, this is a brand new course, this 2-year math course. We've never had before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question was around the resource online. Like, what does that entail? Because I see that being part of the textbook. What is the student resource online?
So it's everything that's in the textbook plus a ton of other stuff, particularly support around the teacher reteaching material. So, there's only so much you can get in a printed textbook. So if we do these problems and they're still not getting it, or they need a video, there's videos in there. There's you can manipulate. So if I do this to the X, what happens to the Y in this problem? There's also quite a bit more assessment. So little itty bitty quizzes that can be auto-graded quickly by the platform. So it helps with assessment. It helps with reteaching. And there's a better visual component in the online materials.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
We had a motion in a second, right?
Yeah.
I.
And then I second. All in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Moving on to 10.2F.
This is a special moment.
Is that Diane?
This is
Is that
Diane's
Diane
last
Carter?
stand at a board meeting for us.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
She's actually done in the district after tomorrow, right?
No,
No, you have another
I
week?
can be.
Okay. When's your last day?
Either next Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
Depends on how much work I get done.
Oh.
But back to the task at hand, because I know we want to all get home. In front of you is a newer version, a more comprehensive version of the Positive Discipline in Climate Guide. Earlier, I think even pre-COVID, we brought forward one that really focused on elementary only. And this one includes supports, that are also geared towards secondary. And it really defines under the MTSS umbrella, different levels of interventions. And it also puts a philosophical focus on, disproportionate suspensions or discipline based on race, ethnicity, disability. It also focuses on alternatives to traditional suspension. And it's kind of meant to just be a working tool, a guidebook, because of course everything needs to have a lens put on to it by the administrators or the team at the school. So it's with a lot of input from the principals, from Chris, from Aaron, that we bring this forward. And it's a discussion item, so I think it's just really meant.
Yeah, so if it's good with the board, we bring it back on consent in August to be approved. But it is an integral part of our MTSS process in scheme that we were creating for next year.
Yeah.
Diane, is there anything that you really want to highlight in here in addition to the kind of the summary that you gave?
I think the most work has gone into the matrix. So if we go to sort of using disciplinary interventions and the actual matrix, sort of the expectation charts and the less of the process, but more of the interventions.
So are you talking about the bulleted lists of examples of classroom interactions and responses?
Yeah, exactly. But also say, okay, this is a level 1 versus a level 2, level 3, and the distinction between those different levels. That's where we spent a lot of time.
12.
Bringing out hard copies, so my computer's not moving very fast to scroll up. So that's where we spent a lot of time.
Page 12 and 13.
Really fine-tuning how to distinguish between when the principal gets involved versus what we think can be handled in the classroom.
And this was determined by school administrators, Chris, and yourself, Diane? Or is this coming from a...
So what I did is I borrowed very heavily from, I think it's the Juvenile Justice Project. So it was LA Unified in Baltimore. They felt like had exemplars, and then we riffed off of it and made it our own. And so that's really how it came to be. And then we took things out that just didn't apply. Just didn't apply to us, but then we added things that needed more definition of the sorts of things that we would see in a typical classroom.
Another thing worth mentioning, and she mentioned it, but I think it falls in line with our equity policy, is there's philosophical statements about disproportionality when it comes to suspension or discipline of students from certain racial groups or students with disabilities. So we have statements about that, about the historical reality of that, and that our administrators are to be mindful, and that is our philosophy, that we measure that and that we keep our eye on it to make sure that we don't have those kinds of issues happening. So
it also has a process for how this will look forward-facing. So it's meant to be on the website. It's meant to be also available to staff and to parents. It'll live on the staff webpage. It'll live on our website somewhere in each individual school website. I'm not sure if it's students or I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to the other people to figure out where it will live. But I think it's also something I even hesitated sort of to, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I even hesitated to bring it forward because I really feel like this is a living document. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you're going to see it a lot. because as we learn more, as we refine more, I see this changing.
That was going to be my question. Because kind of pre-COVID, when I was on the governing council, we read a number of discipline policies that were sort of like best practices from other districts. And it was really, I thought, valuable the way specifics were articulated, the way they are here. But there's a sense that, that decisions are being made every day independent of those documents, of course, because who's reading the documents first. There's people have experience and expertise and all those things, relationships, whatever. So I love the idea that it's a document that, will be updated and changed to reflect best practices and also actual practical kind of just documentation of what the district's doing to some degree. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I agree.
So my question is, your statement is, how do we keep it viable and used? Not just usable, but how do we use that? How would I, as a teacher, I mean, how would I know about it? How would I be able to access? I mean, obviously I can access it, but why would I want to?
The principals especially are going to bring it forward in one of their first staff meetings and, say it's a tool. And it's also a tool that we're using and refining, as I mentioned before. So I think, that's where I see, and hopefully sometime in the future, it will also be a parent group or a student group. What do we need to see to make this bigger, better, more effective? And so, but I think to answer your question, Mike, without going too far off, is a staff meeting. And I'm going to imagine that not everybody's going to be thrilled about some of the things that we're asking them to try in the classroom, but it's a solid practice. And so if we couple that with PBIS strategies and giving the teachers the tools they need to establish a positive environment in the classroom and keep that going, then I think we're on a good track.
Yeah, I love the handbook. I love having all of the information living in one document and using that to really dictate how we interact in any space. And I'm assuming that this handbook will be attached in some way to enrollment coming up in July, possibly, or would it not
Some of
be
the stuff
ready?
will end up in the student handbooks at the secondaries. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll have it available as part of our forward-facing MTSS stuff for parents as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, and I would even encourage having this handbook available when you're having any student discipline interactions, right then and there, so both parents and students understand their rights and the procedures. But yeah, I think I also agree, working document, having teachers give input too as they read the document, answer questions that they might have. But yeah, I love
It's a start.
ease of reading
Yeah.
this document. Yeah.
And are you guys okay with bringing it back on consent in August?
I was going to adding to what Crystal was saying when this is brought up, when there's a meeting with the student and parents, is there any way that this document is also going to be in Spanish?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, we'll have
Okay.
it translated. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wanted to
I
double
forgot to mention that, but yeah.
Perfect.
I think bringing it back in August is correct, and I hope Diane will be back to present it.
Probably not.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
But before you leave, this is a signature document from you and a fine example of your work and who you are, and I thank you.
You're very welcome. It's been my honor, and I think you'll see more of me, but
Yeah.
Hope so.
Maybe not up here, because then I'd be in public comment. You probably don't want to hear that. But. Right.
Thank you, Diane.
Thanks, Diane.
All right, moving on to reports. Do we have a HEF report?
I don't think we have any reports.
Okay.
Board of Trustees would be the only one if anyone had anything to report on.
Board trustees? Reports?
I guess we could report a couple things, couldn't we?
You could.
We had the graduations and the promotions, and the world famous Greyhound band played at the Giants game on the Monday after.
And the Giants won in extras to honor
Giants
their
won.
playing. Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that I thought the graduations really went super well. They were very, very well organized. They were moving and joyful and totally so much pride and happiness in the community as always. And one of the students, as he was walking across the stage at high school graduation, said out loud, "This is so exciting." And I just was like, it is so exciting. It's just really amazing to see everybody and their accomplishments and all of the exciting future that's right in front of them, and the joy and energy that they have is really incredible. So I know so much hard work from teachers and staff and administration went into all of those events and everything that came before them that was being celebrated. And so that was super, super cool. And one of the most fun parts of being a trustee by far. Yeah, and then I guess, end of school, everything was all great and really very successful year, I thought.
Thank you. All right, moving on.
I would say let's not take a break.
Second.
Yeah, because what's left is largely kind of perfunctory, bureaucratic stuff that we can move through very quickly.
Exactly.
All right, welcome back, Aaron. Part 2.
Part 3.
Part 3.
Pressure, Aaron,
Final
just
act
the
of my
perfunctory
three-act
part.
play. Yeah, perfunctory. I excel at
There's
perfunctory.
a couple exceptions.
Take all the 7 minutes you need, Aaron.
10.1, business, school business, 10.1C.
Yeah, so this is LCAP. It was presented last week, and we've had a public hearing. You guys had time for input in April, I think it was. No changes between last and now. I do have my slides. I might as well use them a little bit. You guys have all seen this before, right? LCAP does 3 things for us. Here we are. Yay, it's June. Here are the pieces of it. This is partly why it's over 1,000 pages, right? Part of it's board policy, but all of these elements are in the packet for your reading pleasure. Really, what's important, I think, are these things, which are what are our goals, what are our major actions. We get a little more description when we look at it this way, right? It turns from bullet points to more statements. And then here is the data that we will be tracking. This is in the LCAP, so both the annual report and then the new year 1 of 3. Some of this is data that is required. Other of it is data that we have chosen to pay attention to. All of our actions are contributing, and what that means is that all of these, in some way or another, are primarily to support our low-income students and our English language learners, right? We are a district that primarily serves Latine population and serves low-income population. So it would make sense in the LCAP, whose primary purpose is to make sure that we're doing our best for our students who are furthest from opportunity, that we're putting them front and center. So when we spend dollars, when we think about what do we do, how do we do it, what needs to be front and center is how do we make sure that our students from furthest from opportunity are front and center in all of that decision making. Some examples of what those increased improved services look like. 7-period day. You're seeing a lot of districts. I'll say Petaluma is about to pull the trigger and go to a 7-period day. Windsor is getting back to it. So we've led this now for 6-7 years we did it ago. So we see other districts, bilingual staff in all of our front offices, right? You're not going to walk into any of our buildings without being able to be greeted by a bilingual person. AVID program is strong and increasing. Remember, we're adding 6th grade AVID next year, continuing a focus there down on the bottom for English language development. I just got off the phone this afternoon with one of Kate Kinsella's. Kate Kinsella is kind of one of the kind of marquee folks who do ELD. She happens to be a community member, and we're going to get some coaching with one of her colleagues happening at the junior high. An exciting thing, I don't know if you know, we have 5 students who will be leaving 5th grade and headed to 6th grade as English language learners. 5. 3 of those pass the LPAC. We just need to get them through the STAR. So we're looking at having 2 long-term English language learners leaving becoming, right, leaving 5th and headed to junior high. 7-8 years ago, that number was more like 60. And so that is a testament, I think, all taking with some declining enrollment, but that's not really what's changed those numbers. What's changed the numbers is the good work in K-5. So that feels like a doable thing for our people in the middle school. A couple other increased or improved services. We have a robust library program, right? We're spending well over $100,000 of the AMIM funds to refresh, a fundamental refresh of our library collections. You are going to see different libraries. When you walk in now, front and center in all the libraries, you see bilingual texts. You see manga, manga collection in our high school. So high interest, trying to make sure that students find the books that they want to read. Transitional kindergarten we've had for a good amount of time. Everybody's scrambling. We've had it for a good amount of time. Big picture learning, ethnic studies. We have additional instructional day. We have more PD. So all of these things, a lot of this has to do with where we're at financially as a district, but it also is about making sure that we're putting our money where our mouth is. Adding a school psychologist, right? We now have 3 full-time school psychologists in addition to the 2 full-time mental health specialists. So just quickly, there's a ton of slides in here. If you ever wanted to get over your, insomnia and look at slides, they're there for you. The local indicator report, these are the things we self-evaluate on in the yellow. And so this is a rubric that is used to monitor our progress. Some of its data you can see in this slide in terms of the percentage of teachers with clear credentials, the curriculum, but then this is here, the slide that I have now is where we're self-monitoring and feeling really good about the PD, instructional line materials, and supporting staff. So this is done at the district leadership team level with the principals and a few of their support staff. So nothing new here. I feel like it's headed in the right direction. We always have more work to do and improvement, but overall our data is showing improvement and heading in the right direction. We've rebounded in a lot of ways from the pandemic. When I come back in the fall, we'll have CAST scores, we'll have LPAC scores. The data dashboard will be refreshed, so we'll get another good look at some concrete data for you all in terms of how we're doing on things. So any questions or comments about the LCAP? No?
Thanks for all your super hard work.
Yeah, it's a team effort. It is a team effort.
All right, thanks so much, Erin. We have a motion to approve 10.1C.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron.
Up next, we have 10.1D, 2024-2025 adopted budget, presented by Debbie.
Is anyone on Zoom?
So now's the time.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm bringing forward the same budget that you reviewed last week. There's been no changes in it, just additions to the packet. I summarized, gave you some overview and assumptions in my summary. And everything else is the same. Does anybody have any questions?
All right.
Okay, Mike, go ahead.
Any questions? All right. Do I have a motion to approve this adopted budget?
Move adoption of the 2024-25 budget.
Do I have a second?
Oh, that's right. Okay. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Debbie. Next, we have 10.1E,
Yes, so this is our 3 meeting long conversation about possible compensation for trustees. Debbie, you pull those slides up. After our last conversation last week, it was clear that the board wished to proceed, I believe, with a hybridized kind of compensation package where each trustee would receive the max $240 a month that they can receive in stipend. So that'd be $13,000, $13,200 on the year per trustee, and then have access to medical, dental, and vision coverage as well. That is optional. So that is what is before you as a plan moving forward, and it's up to you to decide whether you want to approve.
Do I have a motion to approve 10.1E, compensation for board trustees?
I'll move to approve.
All right.
I'll second, but I have a question.
Yes?
So, excuse me, the medical or dental, et cetera, I mean, that includes dependencies, could include dependencies.
Yeah, those costs are if everybody opted in, right? So if it was just single person, the total cost of 5 trustees opting in on medical would be the one on the left. And then if you had dependents, it would be the one on the right, which is not even possible because we have trustees without dependents, right? So, yeah.
All right.
I hope, even though we know for a fact that no one's watching right this second, maybe if they watch at a later time, that this is an incentive for anybody who's interested in running for school board to please raise their hand. The stipend will pay for babysitting or whatever other help you might need during the month. Pardon? Gas,
money,
whatever.
dinner.
We'll reach out to the Trib about the vacancies and see if we can't get an article that maybe mentions this. So.
It's a really great job.
Fun. It's a lot of fun.
All right, so we proved it.
No, we didn't vote.
Oh, it's an action item. No, wait. Yeah,
Yes, it's an action.
Yeah, there's motions on
Call for the question.
so we just need to vote.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
4-0. Thank you.
All right, 10.1F. Resolution number.
This is the perfunctory stuff.
This is where we just jam through all of these.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
This is standard.
I want to keep my mic on.
Yeah.
Let's turn our mics on and be ready to do this.
Welcome back, Debbie.
We might have wagers on the income.
Oh my gosh, she's thrown down the gauntlet. Come on.
You control this.
Come on, fast talkers. We can do this.
Before you now.
Are we talking?
Thank you.
Really take a long time.
2424.
One question.
Let me explain this to you.
How much
Okay, this
money is in our
resolution-
budget?
I beg your pardon?
How much money is in our budget?
I don't know. I'll be back in a moment. This is to make transfers between fund balances at the close of year. So for moving expenditures from one fund to the other, we need to pass this resolution in order to do it.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
It's a reso.
Resolution.
You're moving too fast. Vice President Lopez Jimenez.
Aye.
Trustee Potmissel.
Aye.
Trustee McAllister. Trustee Lopez Pardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Next.
Next is Resolution 2425, the authorization to establish temporary interfund transfers if necessary. This resolution allows me to do a temporary transfer from Fund 17 to other funds, as we have to have a positive cash balance on June 30th. I just did one today for our Fund 13 for food services because we are negative right now. So we do a temporary loan from Fund 17, and then after July 1, I return the funds.
I'll move to.
Yeah.
I'll move to. Come on. I'll move to approve Resolution 2425.
I will second that resolution.
All in favor?
No.
Oh, no, my.
Vice President Lopez Jimenez.
Aye.
Trustee Potmissel.
Aye.
Trustee McAllister.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez Pardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the next resolution.
2426 is requesting a temporary transfer of funds from the county treasurer during 2425. This is just to be safe in case our property taxes didn't come in like we expected or we were negative with cash. This is a loan that we can get from the Treasury's office if we file this now. We've never had to use it since I've been in the office, but I like to do it every year just to be sure.
Thank
So
you.
moved.
Second.
All in favor? Nope.
Nope.
Vice President Lopez Jimenez.
Aye.
Trustee Potmissel.
Aye.
Trustee McAllister.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez Pardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, 10.1, aye.
Resolution 24. This is authorizing signers for 2425. This is the superintendent, director of curriculum, and myself.
And what is the basis for appointing these three individuals?
Otherwise, none of the contracts will be good if we don't have this approved.
I move approval of resolution number 2427.
Second.
Vice President Lopez Jimenez.
Aye.
Trustee Potmissel. Trustee McAllister.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez Pardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
10.1J.
Resolution 2428 is the education protection account. These are funds that we receive that we spend on salaries. We spend all of the funds on teachers at the high school. We're estimated to receive $245,000. And attached, you have the report that shows where those expenditures will be. I won't get the final numbers until the fall. The fall. What's wrong, Mike?
So I actually do have a real question. I don't understand. We're short on money for the high school or high school?
No. It's
Help
just
me
that's
understand.
you only have certain options of where you could spend the money. So we choose to spend it on teachers at the high school, and we have ever since this education protection account's been available.
Okay, and this gives you the authority to do that.
Right.
Thank you. So I'll move for the approval of resolution 2427
28.
or 2428, perhaps is a better choice.
I'll second.
Vice President Lopez Jimenez.
Aye.
Trustee Potmissel.
Aye.
Trustee McAllister.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez Pardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
10.1K, 2429.
This is regarding the declaration of indefinite salaries for the 24-25 fiscal year. This allows us to give retroactive salary increases. You can't pay, this resolution makes sure that we don't pay people twice, like double dipping. This allows us to go back and pay prior after they've already been paid. That's how you could do retroactive raises. So if I've already been paid for January through June, but in August, you're going to increase my wages back to January, we have to have this in place to do that.
So moved.
Second.
Vice President Lopez Jimenez. Trustee Potmissel. Trustee McAllister.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez Pardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, 10.3A.
Me?
You're done, Debbie.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Debbie.
No more resolutions either.
Yay. All right, we have Karen. Hello.
Hello. All right, I have 3 items. Let's see. And I have about a half hour, 45 minutes.
You mean 30 to 45 seconds.
Okay. So, my first item here is a waiver. I'm really not trying to take a long time. I'm a little nervous now. Okay, consideration of approval for a variable term waiver. This is for our new culinary arts teacher, Benjamin Witten. He is coming from Washington State, and he is credentialed in the state of Washington. Mm-hmm. But to come here, he needs to get his CTE credential here. So to begin teaching in August, he needs to get a waiver, and then he will need to begin his CTE credential here. Unfortunately, it can't transfer over. So this waiver will help for that. So, questions?
What's the time frame for him to get that credential?
Unfortunately, he will have to complete the program through the SCO, so it's actually a 2-year program.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's tragic that he has to do this because he's highly skilled, highly educated, has a full Washington
But
credential.
we don't have a reciprocal.
We don't have reciprocity with Washington in this area. So
for this,
it's
But
honestly
it's free, right?
an injustice to him.
Because he's doing it through SCO?
No,
Free? No?
it's not a free program.
No.
Yeah.
Even though he's working at a public school, it wouldn't be.
Nope.
No?
It's lower cost than most places, but it's not free. Yeah. And it's necessary for him to be able to teach in California. So
Yeah. But he's all signed up and ready to go, and this waiver will allow him to teach this year, and then we can do another waiver for the next year as well.
and we have no qualms about his teaching ability at all. So.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll move to approve the variable term waiver.
No.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. 10.3B.
All right,
Approval for. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. This next one is a provisional internship permit for Natalie Padilla. She is a kindergarten teacher that is coming back and has been hired. She was a temporary teacher last year, and she's coming back as a teacher this year. And she was hoping to complete an exam over the summer, and she needs to retake that exam. And so this provisional permit allows her to begin teaching in August, and then she'll complete the exam, and then she should be recommended for her preliminary credential after that.
And again, what is the time frame for were she to complete the exam?
She just took the exam and got her results, and I think she is signed up for it in August, and so she'll get the results in the fall, sometime in the fall, and then I told her I'd like for her to be recommended for her preliminary by the end of that semester.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But potentially could go all year, right, Karen?
This PIP is good
Yeah.
for the whole year, so
Thank you.
we're fine. Yeah.
Thank you. So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. 10.3C.
All right. So this newest teacher that we've hired, Gloria Mora, she's coming on as an intern teacher through the Be a Teacher program. She just graduated from Sonoma State, and you're laughing.
No.
Oh. Are you wanting me to take a little longer? Or?
No, we're good.
Okay. And Gloria.
I think
I
the
don't
issue
know.
here is that the superintendent and the director of business are having this competition. And apparently there's a time constraint on one of them.
Don't
And
know.
a
I don't know
time,
even what other people's times were. Yeah.
Okay. So Gloria, I'm very
I don't know who I'm
excited about
helping.
Gloria.
Not helping Karen. I apologize.
So Gloria I'm very
But I'm gonna
excited
win.
about her.
Yeah.
There's lots of reasons, but she's getting her intern credential and entering into the intern program through the Be a Teacher the intern program through SCO. And she needs to complete her CSETs. Unfortunately, that's not part of when you get your credential now. The CSETs come after you get your credential. And so she needs to complete those. So the PIP is something that she has to get. But she's enrolled in the program and will have her intern credential in August.
And the CSATs are the subject competency tests through the state. They're not easy.
Nope.
I'll move to approve the provisional internship permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any board?
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Thanks for putting up with our shenanigans tonight.
All right. Any board of trustees reports / comments / requests for information? No, seeing none. All right.
Wait. I have one. And there's still 2 minutes before
All right. Do we need to
7:30.
recess to close session at all?
Wait, I have one.
She has a comment.
I have a comment.
Sorry.
I would like to, in the fall, please raise the issue of cell phone usage in the secondary schools and have us look at our policies and maybe more importantly, our practices around cell phone use on campus. I've had several contacts from parents that are concerned about cell phone use, and I would put myself in that same category. So I just want to make sure that our district is absolutely at the most responsible level of practices around mental health and cell phone use and education time and all those things. So look forward to talking about that.
It's in the news
fall.
too. The Surgeon General's got stuff coming out. Gavin Newsom's actually contemplating it as a statewide thing. LA Unified either did or is discussing banning them. So, yeah. So it's.
I just want to make sure that we're being, that we are not, that we're in front of the 8 ball. Is that what you say? Just that we're, because I feel like I could talk for a long time, which I won't since it's only 1 minute till 7:30, about what I've seen with my own kids in the last couple of years with their cell phone use, both inside and outside of school, and the impact on their mental health and well-being and ability to concentrate and develop study skills and social interactions and bullying and all the things that we have read about are very, very real. And changing our policies and practices around the availability of cell phones during the day for our students, I know is going to make a positive difference in their development of their study skills and their life skills and their sense of safety. So
yeah, we'll be moving forward.
If they were listening to this, they'd be super mad at me, by the way, for saying all this.
Nobody's on the Zoom. Yeah.
I actually also want to raise something for the fall, and hopefully have a conversation about communication in general and bilingual communication. So if we could have a conversation about that, specifically around social media and communicating that both Spanish and English, and then press releases for our local newspaper. So if we could have a conversation about that in August, I'd appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our next regular board meeting will be Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. All right. And with that being said, I'm calling the meeting to end. No, just kidding. At 7:30.